parents didn't necessarily eat the best of diets. We didn't know that much about the nutritional aspect. Now, my mother had various health issues, but she lived to be 97, nearly 98, and my dad almost made 89. So longevity runs in the family. Now,
Yes.
they didn't face the same challenges I did because
Lived a different life than you.
I don't even like to think about the details of that, Lubie, but straight out of the Colombian jungles, man, I used to get this crap. I remember throwing these parties. No one would ever leave. That was the thing. If you were providing the blow, you would have people at your house, and you were already passed out after a 2-day binge, and they were still there at the table going, "Hey, any lemon scrap?"
Oh,
What the hell was I thinking, too? I mean, I was really just starting out here in Miami. I remember a few times going to work thinking, I'm fine. I interviewed Pat Riley, coked out of my mind one day. I'm not sure that the conversation went as smoothly as I normally would have anticipated.
The time.
Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
I still have horrible memories of that interview, by the way.
Whether you remember it.
I couldn't forget it because I'd been up all night, naturally. I mean, this is a substance that didn't necessarily incline you to have a good night's sleep. Eventually, you're gargling with Xanax, trying to at least catch an hour. And you're thinking, okay, if I fall asleep right now,
Yep.
I could get a half hour in before I have to go to work. And then you're driving to work, whatever, and you're thinking, I'm not really all that steady. And I remember going to the studio. I was working at 850, right in the middle of the radio dial there, a real horse bleep radio station that was run by a bunch of criminals. And there's Riley. I didn't want to skip work because I had the Riley interview schedule. And, this guy's broadcasting royalty if you get a Riley interview. And it's usually pretty easy to do. I mean, you don't have to say much. You don't even have to ask even a remotely intelligent question. He might call you out if you said something really, really stupid.
Yeah.
But in general, he could take even the most botched of questions, the most ill factually based premise that you've presented in front of him and turn it around and make it sound like, geez, man, I just read my Philosophy 101 book here and I'm going to read more Aristotle. I mean, the guy was brilliant like that. And I went in there and I was on shaky ground. It was not solid ground that I was on, Olivia. And I can still picture myself because this was a studio that it didn't have room for chairs. So you did the entire show standing up.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
These were like phone booth studios. Eventually, they put together something that was so spectacular that it was detrimental. Where they bought the best of equipment. They had made this commitment. Yeah, we're really going to do this right. And they bought all this fancy equipment, but unfortunately it didn't work. And what was great was, what would it be? Would it be to reflect the sound? Is refraction a word here? Why am I searching?
It exists, but I don't know.
So they eventually, to balance out the sound so that everything wasn't reverberating in the studio, they actually took the plexiglass from a taxi cab and hung it in front of the microphone. So, and you could see written on it, driver carries no cash.
Oh, Jesus.
You never really could kind of balance that out. But that was a rough day. I don't want to keep reflecting on that. As long as you play this clip, Lubie, though, it does bring back and jog some rather skeptical and suspect memories there from my past. All right, we were dead wrong yesterday. Could not have been any more wrong, Lubie. Was I not touting the fact that I thought at 3-1 Ben Shelton was a pretty good play against Yannick Sinner? There were all the signs that this is why the gods of gambling are particularly cruel, Lubie. You understand this now from knowing degenerate gamblers. I think you were very naive going into this whole thing.
100%.
You had no idea about what torture sports could really be.
Yep.
So I'm watching Ben Shelton. He's serving up these 145-mile-an-hour serves. So he's in the first set. Both guys were unbreakable. Yannick Sinner comes in off having a dicey elbow that he clearly looked like, I mean, you were thinking this guy's compromised in this Dimitrov match where he was losing down 2 sets, 2-2 in the third. Okay, can you guarantee that he would have lost the match? I don't know. But nonetheless, Dimitrov injures his pectoral muscle and can't continue. And so Sinner gets just a beautiful free pass. I mean, you talk about I mean, this was you're about to get knocked out, and the other guy all of a sudden has like a heart attack in the ring. It would be equivalent of one of those lopsided matches where one guy's bleeding from every pore, and then somehow the referee steps in and stops it in the last minute of the final round, and you get a total reprieve, a completely bogus decision. And watching Sinner, the elbow seemed to compromise him. He had been razor sharp in his 3 matches prior to that one with Dimitrov, and he can't get out of his own way. Unforced error after unforced error, typical shots that he makes and makes him look easy, spectacular shots. All of a sudden, he's hitting bloopers and all kinds of crazy stuff. So every reason in the world to believe that Shelton, gathering momentum, just rolling into this quarterfinal matchup, what was going to have more than a legitimate shot to beat Sinner, and 3-1 odds, did that not seem very attractive? There are only 2 things that can happen. He wins or loses. And so 3-1 looked like a very favorable number to me. Straight set Sinner. He makes no mistakes, Lubie. He has 0 unforced errors. I think that sustained itself all the way through the first set. Think about that for a second. 0 unforced. He never missed a shot. In addition to, the way he was putting pressure on Shelton, he's running this guy who's extremely athletic, almost as much so as Alcaraz, back and forth, in and out, back and forth, in and out. And so he runs away and wins this thing convincingly in straight sets. All of a sudden, looks like the favorite again. How did the guy turn this around that fast, Libby? What kind of miracle drug was he?
I don't know, but you were talking about him being injured, and he then goes and wins in straight sets. There's a big difference there.
In phenomenal fashion. Shelton's serving up second serves at 130 miles an hour. Think about that. That would be like trying to face Nolan Ryan from a Little League distance. Not when Ryan was a kid. I'm talking about when he was, already in the big leagues, and he's 40 feet away and he's firing fastballs at you. Your temptation is to just hope that you don't get hit by one and get out of the way. And yet, he hung in there. It was brilliant. So that kind of turned that around, and he's going to take on the Joker in the next round at Wimbledon. And you would have to think, as well as the Joker's been playing, Joker lost the first set to this. I don't know. Can you say he's an unknown Italian? He was seeded in, 22nd, something like that? Caboli? I never heard of this guy. You ever heard of this guy, Caboli?
No.
Flavio Caboli.
He's top
I
25.
thought, he was the maitre d' at the Casa Calabria. Like he calls you and says, yeah, I'm comping your dinner tonight. Go see Flavio Caboli at the desk. Flavio Caboli. But the guy played great in his first 3 rounds and then runs into the Joker. He wins the first set 7-6 in a tiebreaker, and then Joker just talk about making adjustments during the match. Joker just completely reversed the form on that, and so he ends up in the semifinal now facing Sinner, and the other one on the men's side is our man Taylor Fritz, the lone American now left in the field. Although Anisimova is going to play today against Sabalenka. That match gets underway in about 15 minutes. And that's the women's semifinal. Both the women's semifinals are being contested this morning. Arina Sabalenka, who had a tough time surviving against this German girl, Sigmund, who was a Vegematic out there, slicing and dicing and dicing and slicing. Here's a radish. Look at that. Unbelievable. And Anisimova is more of a power player and has really made a nice resounding comeback into the game. So that could be that would be fun to watch. I would imagine, very entertaining. And then Belinda Bencic, kind of a long shot here, just had a baby like a week ago. Lubie, she's in the semifinals at Wimbledon against. How could you say this? And we still don't know how to pronounce this woman's name because now I'm hearing it 7 other ways, Lubie. The Visser Mama got us thrown off stride with this when she said it's not Swiatek, which I don't believe it is Swiatek, but
No.
Is it Swiatek?
Yeah. I mean, if I've ever heard it pronounced, that's how it's pronounced.
Swiatek. The Shvi, as I now call her, whenever I'm talking to Leslie, who's playing lights out. I mean, she's faltered a little bit. Remember when she won like 40 matches in a row? Iga Swiatek, the Polish girl, who was number 1 in the world for a reasonable period of time. A couple of years ago, was that 2 years back? Remember, she rattled off. She won everything.
Yep,
great. But she seems to somehow have recaptured her form, and I think she's going to be in the final. I believe she beats Bencic, but what do I know? I had Shelton at 3-1, and bing, bang, zoom to the moon, Alice. He was right out of the tournament. Unbelievable. But made some strides, so that was good. That was going on at Wimbledon, and today, of course, you got the women's semifinals, and then tomorrow you'll have the men with Sinner and Joker possibly. Yeah, Cinnamon Joker and Fritz and Alcaraz. It's going to be a lot of fun. They're already underway. I mean, I love this when this happens. We'll be in the Scottish Open. Scottish Open, and it tells you something. You talk about indicators from the gods of gambling. Last week in the John Deere Classic, I gave out as my long shot pick. I believe he was over 30-1. Jake Knapp. Are you familiar with Jake Knapp? Jake Knapp has had 2 phenomenal low rounds. He shot a 59 here at whatever the former Honda Classic is called. What's that called now? Do we know? Something with a C. The tournament in Palm Beach, PGA National. So he shoots a 59, 1 round of 59. He hasn't been consistent enough. He's had a couple of low rounds. Comes back in another tournament, shoots a 61. I figured against a compromised field, a watered-down field at the John Deere Classic, no Scheffler, no Rory, none of the really top names that were involved in that thing, that he's in there with a shot. I believe he was relatively nowhere. You talk about an also-ran. But already out there on the course, setting the pace in the Scottish Open at 6 under par. So should we have stuck with this guy for one more week? What do you think, Libby? Did I throw in a towel too soon?
Yeah, maybe.
What do I know about this crap? I mean, we're giving out loser after loser here.
Exactly.
My God. All right, now here's a case where how up in arms would everybody have been with the typical reaction that you get because we're so conditioned to think that the Miami Marlins are going to make moves that only fuel the anger that fans have over the idea that they'll never get a team together, right? And we were talking before the season about, hey, how soon? We know they started Sandy Alcantara on opening day, and you thought that he would be traded after the first pitch. As soon as he showed other leagues, the other teams in the league that he could reach the plate, they were going to trade him. They were going to take him out after one pitch and call every club in Major League Baseball and go, you need a starter? Did you see Sandy? Because what? He's coming off Tommy John. He's a former Cy Young Award winner. We know that when he's on, or when he was on, prior to this year, the guy was bordering on brilliant, was he not? He had to be considered a top 10 starter in Major League Baseball.
On the Cy Young, the last time he was healthy.
Cy Young, exactly. I mean, we're talking Cy Young here. We're talking 500 and something victories. Unbelievable.
Yes.
So, anyway, unfortunately, they kept him. How about that? We have to be critical of the Marlins for not making a move that we normally would have been super critical of them for doing in the first place.
Unfortunately, they kept him.
Wow. They're really getting bombed every time. 7.22 earned run average, a 4-9 record. He goes 5 yesterday against the Reds. Gives up 9 hits, 6 earned runs, and the Marlins go down. They see their 11-game road winning streak snapped.
Yep.
Snap, crackle, and pop. Boom. It was all over. It was over early, and unfortunately at the hands of one Sandy Alcantara, who now, I mean, what would he have been worth before the season? Had to be people, you would think around Major League Baseball would say, hey, wait a minute, man. We got a top-line starter here. We will give you all of our prospects. We'll give you our entire minor league organization. You can have our AAA, AA, single A, high A, low A, every team that we have in the organization. You can have them all for Sandy Alcantara. And now what, Lubie? What are you going to get for this guy?
I don't know.
Somebody still see potential? Like he can shake this off? It doesn't look like it.
Not right now. I mean, he had 3 really good starts in a row, so it looked like, oh, good, Sandy's back. And now that's 2 to 3 really bad starts in a row.
Shelved.
So I don't know what you could give. I mean, I'm sure you could get something. And the thing is, the young arms look solid, so you'd almost be okay trading away Sandy at this point if you could get something for him. I don't know what that is right now. You almost sort of have to just ride the wave a little bit longer and see if he can stabilize things because he's had a lot more bad. And I get it. He ended up having Tommy John, so his struggles for last year can be explained by that. But he's back now and he's healthy. So
most of these guys come back sharp from Tommy John, don't they?
They do. How do you explain this? That's the problem. Is he had surgery? Yeah, but all these guys have Tommy John, and they're usually better when they come back.
Tommy John does not come with the connotation of the high risk. I mean, you're out for a long time. You're going to be out for a year.
Yes,
but you've seen more. I mean, we probably would have to research this a little bit, but I want to say over 80% of the pitchers that have come back from Tommy John. Now, we've had some that have had to have a second Tommy John surgery a few years after the fact, but most of them come back. Well, look at John Smoltz. My God, he was a much better pitcher post Tommy John, wasn't he?
Yes. He turned things. He was already good. He totally changed things.
Yeah, well, he
It's like
went from
another level.
starting to being top notch.
Closer, and it was a lights out closer. Yeah.
Lights out, man. Kind of like this guy. I have a new favorite baseball player. It'll be kind of obscure, but I've seen him lately a couple of times closing games for the Milwaukee Brewers. Have you seen this guy, McGill? He's unbelievable. He's like a second coming of Goose Gossage. Trevor McGill. Is he in the All-Star game? I want to say probably not, but he should be. Wow. What a monster. Every pitch is 100 plus. Every single pitch. It's Aroldis Chapman all over again. This guy's a right-hander, and he just looks the part. He looks like he, came in. Instead of cleats, he's wearing cowboy boots, that kind of guy. Big, strapping right-hander. And every time I see him, I'm like, my God, who could hit a ball off this guy? He's 2-2 on a year. He's got a high ratio of strikeouts. He walks some batters also. He was in, I think, he closed the game against the Marlins the other day.
Okay.
When the Marlins were playing the Brewers, and that's the first time I really noticed him, and I'm like, my God! Every time I see this guy, he's a highlight reel waiting to happen. But Trevor McGill, watch for Trevor McGill, my new favorite Major League Baseball player. And Toronto had their 10-game winning streak snapped yesterday. We were ice cold. We did that Barrier Bookie show with Scotty M, our good friend Scotty M. He's been pretty good on Major League Baseball. He really gets into it. Loss after loss after loss. We both gave you Ben Shelton. It was a disgusting display of ineptitude when it came to any form of handicapping. So watch out, people. All of a sudden, the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. We do have the trivia challenge today. A couple of other things, though, real quick. So the home run derby field, wow. I mean, thank God this Raleigh guy from the Seattle Mariners decided to go into it. Now, I could always watch Ronald Acuna Jr. I know a lot of people think he's a show off and it's a bit much, and he's
that's fine. It's a home run derby.
Deion Sanders to him, but the guy's great. So very entertaining ball player. So he's going to be in it. The other guys that are in it, James Wood, the actor, didn't he just disgrace himself with some kind of position on the Trumpster? I think he did. O'Neal Cruz, Pittsburgh Pirates, I think, hard hitter, but a lot of these guys have like 15 home runs, Lubie. Raleigh, of course, is leading the league with 36, leading the majors with 36, but where's Aaron Judge? Where's Juan Soto, even though he has like 20-something home runs? Where's Pete Alonso? None of these guys want to go in it. Is it time to rethink how they do it so that you get some? I mean, if they went one round and just said, hey, most homers one round, would that be? I mean, it would be detrimental to the television broadcast because they're trying to kill what? How many hours do they have the home run derby on? Like 3?
Good. It's like 4 or 5. It's like 3 or 4 hours.
Don't they need to rethink the whole thing? I mean, if none of your stars, if none of your best home run hitters want to go in it because they feel like it's going to wreck their swing when they come back, which look, sometimes you feel sorry for the guy. It's up there. Imagine taking your biggest cut, Lubie, 100 times. It can't necessarily be beneficial to you and your overall, physical well-being when you're going to go out and play another 80 games of the regular season before you even get to the postseason. So a lot of guys just say, hey, you know what? Bleep this. I'm not in. And so what? Is it a showcase for the young power hitters that are up and coming? What do you think, Libby? Or is all interest scratched away because you have a field here of almost unrecognizable players?
Well, no. I mean, it's what Brian said. Like, people got into this weird thing about it messing your swing up. So guys stopped wanting to do it. I guess I don't know. It's not the.
It's too many swings for these guys. It really is.
Maybe a lot of work. I don't know. It never was a big deal before. Like, the slam dunk contest was always a little weird. Like, yeah, in the 80s you got Jordan, but like by the 90s you weren't getting the stars. You were like people that were interesting and young. And then you'd get the next group of interesting young. The stars haven't done the slam dunk contest in a long time. And it's still,
when the doctor was in, he took off from the foul line. That was great.
Like, you even had Jordan and Irving and Dr. J. Like, you even had those guys since the 80s. Like, from the 90s on, the slam dunk contest was still interesting because you would get at least Blake Griffins and you'd get guys like that were fun, entertaining. Yeah, up and coming stars, at least. What made it become really bad was when you didn't get those guys. You just get random G League guys like the home run derby never was that. Like, my whole life, the home run derby, you always got the stars. Like, even until recently. So I don't know if it's the scoring. I don't know what it is, because the swing thing, like, it never was an issue until the last like 3 or 4 years. So like I don't understand in a sport that is struggling so mightily to retain young fans. Like I don't get why this can't get more oomph. Like
I just think they're making these guys do too much.
maybe
In other words, if you knew you were going to take 25 cuts, okay. Would the stars still be in it? I don't know. The monetary incentive, is it not strong enough?
Mm.
The guy's making hundreds of millions. And by the way, speaking of millions, where is Justice Winslow today?
Oh, good.
Oh my God. Devin
Oh,
Booker gets a 2-year extension.
I know.
Who's running the Phoenix Suns?
I mean, look, whatever. People are doling out lots of
And
money.
Marley involved? I mean, do they have one guy that knows anything about basketball there with the Phoenix Suns?
James Jones, I think, is long gone. I don't know.
$70 million a year for Devin Booker, while your man Justice Winslow is. I think I saw him delivering parcels the other day for UPS. Was he in a brown truck? Did you see him on A1A? No, Lubie? I'm sure he did well enough for himself that he can retire very comfortably. How much money do you figure Justice Winslow made
Oh, good.
in his career?
Because I think he got another contract. Remember, like he
Did
kept
get his
playing for a while. He kept playing. I 50 to 60 million. I mean, he made some money. I mean, he hung around for a little bit. He was decent defense, and he had these little flashes that would make people excited. That he hung around for a little bit. I mean, it's nothing compared to Devin Booker, obviously, but he hung around for a while, I think.
Booker, a great ball player, but we had spotted him early on. Remember that he was like the 6th guy taken from the Kentucky roster. How did Calipari not win the national championship that year? Impossible to conceive of, right? They had everybody, and Booker. I used to come in and play like 15 minutes a game, and I'm looking at this guy going, "My God, this guy can get his own shot from anywhere, and he makes them." And then he really blossomed as a pro, but at the same time, $70 million a year for the next couple of years, or 2 years added on to an extension. And that's a lot of juice for a guy, and it doesn't look like he's going to produce any championships. So would you say that's a fair assessment? I don't know.
They're going to now revamp and rebuild around him, which is what they should do. What it means, I don't know. Look, we've talked about Booker for a long time. He became better than anyone could have thought, but he's sort of fallen into this area where he's a good player. He's an all-star, but is he a number 1 player on a championship team? Probably not. No. So that's the problem for Devin, for the Suns. But you've just revamped everything. He's still actually pretty young. So it's like, and you've never had issues with him and anyone. So you can bring in players, put him around him. He seems to work well with them. Like, he's like your second guy on a championship contender. He's proven to be that. They did go to the championship. They were up on the Bucks in that final. So he's shown that if you put the right piece around him, he can definitely be a big part of a really good team. He's just, people got ahead of themselves. He's not a number 1. Like, he's
70 mil. Is that the top
good player? Yeah. I mean, look what the Thunder are doing. Chet Holmgren, no one knows what he is yet.
Yeah.
Like, when he's gone against real bigs, he looks like a guy that shouldn't even be in the league. Like,
doesn't he look like a dish rag? I mean, the guy's too skinny.
He's a nice player, and he's borderline, if not true blue all-star skills. But what we've seen, and again, it's only his second year. He can get, I don't know if he's going to get bigger, but he can.
He was a huge contributor, though.
And they won the title, and it's fine. And he's pure potential. Like, again, he's not even scratched the surface of what he could be, but you still don't really know what he can be, because the more and more you look at him, he has to lean into his skills and away from his size, but he was always put out there as a big. So, like, you really don't know what Holmgren is, honestly, and they just gave him $250 million.
Incredible, yeah.
You don't know what Williams was all NBA. Yeah. Jalen Williams is a really interesting player. He's a really good player. He's all NBA. Yeah. He's still super young. You don't really know how good he is. They're giving him, I think, 200 and something. Like, I mean, we did this. Look, it's been years. Tyler Johnson, we talked about when he got his
contract. That was like 50 million, and you're thinking, that's outrageous. All right, it's trivia challenge time, and I do believe we have Dave Gurggles Gergely. You're ready to fire? Yes, and a skinny-looking Gurggles there. Wow, look at you, Gurggles! Good, congratulations. How are you, my friend? Dave Gurggles Gergely.
Doing fine. The reason you couldn't come up with that name for the Honda Classic is because it would have never described me, you, and Paulie. It's the Cognizant Classic.
Oh, the Cognizant. How about forgetting that? Yeah.
And how about this? What is that Brewers Closers connection to the Beatles?
Oh, Jesus.
He's a second cousin of George Harrison. What?
No, don't you remember Rocky Raccoon? Her name was McGill. She called
yeah.
herself Lil, but everyone knew her as Nancy.
That's right. Yeah, nice job. Gurggles coming in firing today.
And
This
the last one, I think Sandy Alcantara is made for the Dodger Blue.
No, probably.
maybe.
I hope that someone will give them something for him. He's been horrendous.
Yeah.
And you know what today is, right?
Yeah. What?
Opening day at the spa.
Oh, today's the official opening. Well, they were kind of open last week, so.
Well, that was the New York and Belmont, but this is official today. So.
Okay, very good. Yeah. We look forward to our good friend Frank Miramonte doing a dynamite job with the calls there. Really has excelled ever since he got that position. He was already good at Santa Anita. Yeah, no, he really brings it to the table there. And you know what's funny? See, he was a Trevor Denman disciple. He loved Trevor Denman. That was his idol. And I think Trevor was influential in helping him get some early gigs in horse racing. And Trevor never mentions the time, the quarter time, half time, or half mile time, three quarters. And so Frank never does when he's at Santa Anita, but the New York Racing Association must have said, hey, listen, man, these New York guys, they want to know what the pace of the race is. So go ahead and incorporate that in. So when he's calling on the West Coast, no time is ever mentioned. And when he's calling at Saratoga, the quarter in 21-4. That kind of thing. So watch for that. He throws it.
Yeah, and when I saw him there 5 years ago, I guess, and took a picture with him, and I said, Frank, and he goes, are you here after my car? I said, no. I'm on
I remember walking out. His car had been repoed there at Hialeah Park after he just hit for $15,000 on a daily double at Aqueduct, which had him out of many of a jackpot. But that's in the distant past. That's the way we like to characterize that kind of thing, especially if it applies to you, me, and Lubie. All right, we're going to get into the trivia challenge. We're going to take a quick time out here and come back, so that'll give you time to dial us up 954-417-0070. Lubie's got gift certificates galore to give away, including Landlubbers, Texas Roadhouse, all kinds of stuff. It's up to his discretion, the discretion of the hosts, and the people on the show to decide what you're going to get. But whatever it is, it's invaluable. And so, and then the distinction, of course, of being a champion. 954-417-0070. Dave Gurggles Gergely and a trivia challenge coming up in just a moment. Now that.
The time.
I can take that right out the door. That's good. It's 8:36. Play the ponies in style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers, Raw Bar, and Grill in Plantation, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar, and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Are you looking to buy your first home? Have you been turned down for a loan? Do you need to refinance or get money out of your home? Call Michael Kodsey, CEO of Choice Mortgage. He's been helping the South Florida community get mortgages for 30 years.
Hi, this is Michael Kodsey, CEO of Choice Mortgage. We have the most competitive fixed rates in the market. Call me 24/7, 561-441-2730. And remember, I don't just work banking hours. To make the right choice for your home, call Choice Mortgage today.
Oh, Solo Volante will be coming late. Oh, Solo Volante, the Belmont's now 1 mile and an 8. The finish line is coming up quick. Luca Panici, just switch the stick.
The only way to get your morning started is with Defo, joined by Lubie, right here on The Defo Show.
All right, let the games begin here. We have Dave Gurggles Gergely, and the trivia challenge is about to get underway. Tribute, of course, always to the Polyman, our longtime esteemed colleague and co-creator of the game. He did the creation, and I stole credit for it. So it was great. And we've had nothing but fun over these many, many years we've been doing it. So let's get right into it. 954-417-0070. Starting us out in the somewhat traditional fashion with Dave Gurggles Gergely and some
Easy baseball. This rather eccentric Yankee ball player, when asked about his relationship with George Steinbrenner and Billy Martin, explained, "You know, me and George and Billy, we're two of a kind." What's that? Mickey Rivers, Joan Rivers, Johnny Rivers, or Billy Ocean?
It sounds like something Lou Duver would say. All right, roll the scrambler there, Lubie. Oh, great. This is good, man. He got sprung. Now, do you have to post bail when they let you out of these hospitals, Andy? Andy, welcome to the show. Hello.
Yeah, I've got this perpetual care thing, so they just take it out of my fund all the time.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm thinking like a bondsman shows up at the front desk and says, "I want him out now. He didn't do this. He deserves a trial." All right, you have 1 point. You're in the game.
All right, Andy, hockey. True or false? Louis Panther defenseman Jeff Petrie is actually a second-generation professional athlete. His dad, Dan Petrie, was a former Major League Baseball pitcher who earned a World Series ring with the Tigers. True or false?
How do you spell that? Petry or Petrie?
Yes.
One of those.
One of those.
All right, Dan Petrie was with a Y. I'll go with true. The guy
It is true. 1984. Yep.
I thought Jeff Petrie was
You
a
know that
basketball player. Yeah.
That's why he's asking about the spelling, I think.
You know
Another Jeff Petrie. Wasn't there a Jeff Petrie who played for Princeton and played in the NBA, I think? Too?
Played with Portland, I think.
Yeah,
was
yeah.
where
It
he was.
was, yes. And that's
And
why
he beat Bob McAdoo in that Vitalis one-on-one, and McAdoo never lived it down. Still insulted by that to this day. What were you going to say, Andy? We keep cutting you off.
Dan Petrie speaks very good English for a guy from Canada. It's amazing.
Incredible, yeah. He's a master of the language like that. 2 for 2, Andy. Going for 5.
All right, baseball. Let's take you back in baseball history to the inaugural initial season in 1993. Who was the first Marlin to steal a base?
Good question.
Chucky Carr, Jeff Conine, Junior Felix, or Al Weiss?
Wow.
Jesus.
Well, Al Weiss would have been like 90 by then. So I'll go with Chucky Carr's too obvious. I'll go with Chucky Carr. I'll go with the obvious.
Right, he was too obvious. It was Mr. Marlin himself, Jeff Conine, stole it.
Okay. I was thinking either Conine or Junior. Conine, not exactly known as a speedster.
No.
Was there defensive indifference on that? They wouldn't have credited him.
Yeah, exactly. It was one
He
where
was pretty much of a slug running the bases,
he
wasn't
was
he?
not a base runner.
No. 2 going for 7, Andy, to set the pace.
All right, golf. We got the Scottish Open this week. Next week, the British Open. In 1964, it was actually this day in sports, I believe. The British Open was won by Champagne Tony Lima for his only majors title, and he was 5 strokes ahead of the runner-up, who was whom?
Who was
Jack
whom?
Nicklaus?
Is that a little awkward there? Who was whom? I liked it.
That was whom should have been.
It
All
could
right.
have been anything, yeah.
Runner-up 5 strokes back. Was it Jack Nicklaus, Lee Trevino, Billy Casper, or Arnold Palmer?
Oh, good choices.
Jesus.
I'll go with Billy Casper.
Casper.
Oh, this time it was the obvious one, Jack Nicklaus.
Wow, I was going to say Trevino.
Hang on, Andy.
He's usually pretty good.
First,
All right, Andy, don't go away. Don't
love
go
it.
away, Andy. As they keep telling you at these hospitals, don't go away, man. Stand by. We'll have the results of these tests soon. So Andy bombs out. Not a total worthy of being in the finals, but doesn't preclude the idea that he still might make it. I mean, it's kind of like a sub 500 team playoffs. And you can download stuff if you want to play. 954-401. 407. What was it? 954-401-0070. Yeah, that's the number. 954-401-0070. I think Lubie's got it circulating right there on the board. These guys know the number by now anyway, don't they, Gurggles?
Some of them should. You're right.
Did you do any early toga handicapping today? Or?
I have a couple in the stakes that I like. The De La Rosa, it's split into 2 divisions.
Very nice. Okay. You're going to release them later? 417. What am I
Yeah,
doing?
during Perdomo.
I got a lot of zeros going in this phone number here today. Just dial 888-8888 and we'll send a cat to your house. You can play the freaking
Don't
game.
figure it out. Yeah.
All right. 417-0070. I knew I'd get it straight here. And let's go ahead. Fire off our next set of questions, Dave.
Sure. Golf. This pro golfer on an especially tough childhood growing up said, when I was 15 years old playing golf on a municipal course, I put down my bag to hunt for the ball. I came back, I found the ball, but somebody took the bag. What's that? Lee Trevino, Lee Leonard, Peter Leonard, or Leonard Bernstein?
Saw Peter Leonard last night. A fabulous dinner at the Cafe Seville. Here's a scrambler, and it lands on Ron. Ron, you're on the trivia challenge. Good morning, Ron. Glad you got the right number.
Good morning, fellas. Let's go with A.
Correctamundo. One going for two.
And tennis. Believe it or not, Roger Federer, before he won Wimbledon, actually at one time was a ball boy at Wimbledon.
Wow.
True or false?
That's got to be false.
It is false, but he was a ball boy at the Swiss Open growing up.
I'm thinking, I mean, as a kid, what would he be doing coming, Swiss guy is going to go roll over to Wimbledon there and be a ball boy? Unlikely. Okay, good job spotting that one. 2 for 2 and going for 5.
Baseball. One of the greatest moments in All-Star history came when Ichiro Suzuki had an inside-the-park home run in 2007 off
Ooh, good one.
Chris Young, Greg Maddich, Jack Armstrong, or Hal Reniff?
Hal Reniff.
Oh, boy. Let's go D. D as in dog.
D as in dog.
Hal Reniff?
Oh, Reniff, get out of here. He was
Gotta go back a while for him.
Yeah.
It was actually Chris Young.
Hal Reniff was a really boring reliever for the Yankees.
Yeah, for the Phillies and the Yankees. I remember him.
Did he have thick glasses too, like Ryan Doran? I think he did.
He
I
might have.
I'm not sure. All right, you bombed on that one, but you have a shot at 7 points.
Okay. Hockey. Newest Panther defenseman Jeff Petrie, we already talked about him, was originally drafted in 2006 by what team?
All right.
Montreal, Boston, Pittsburgh, or Edmonton?
A lot of Petrie questions.
Let's go Edmonton.
Edmonton, the Oilers.
That's correct.
What?
Nice.
I would know that.
Good job, Ron. You probably didn't find
blind guess, grasping at straws and coming up correct there. That's big. All right, dial us up now. Ron's setting a pace with 7 points here. Trivia challenge underway. Gift certificates to be given away. Landlubbers and/or Texas Roadhouse. 954-417-0070. I'm just wondering if when the junior Lubie is born, it won't be a junior. I think it's going to be Luka Lubitz. Is that already settled, Lubie? Luka Lubitz.
Luka Lubitz?
Going to be Luka Panici Lubitz. The middle name is going to be Panici. And will you be passing out cigars at whatever ceremonial event Lubie stages in the aftermath of that? If you are, I know what they're going to be. Yeah.
That's Perdomo Cigars. Good for any occasion, or you don't even need an occasion. Go down to 5150 Northwest 167th Street. They'll be opening up at 9 o'clock till 6, Monday through Friday. And go in there, see Nick Jr., see Bruce at the desk, ex-policeman, now the concierge there. He knows all about cigars. They'll make them perfect one at a time. Cuban seed tobacco grown in Nicaragua, mild Connecticut wrapper, a harsher Maduro wrapper, whatever your taste is, they make them perfect one at a time. 305-627-6700, the number to call. www.perdomocigars.com, the website to go to visit, whether it's a birth or whether you're celebrating today's winner of the first leg of De La Rosa. I'm going to take a little shot with Jose Ortiz aboard a horse called Deep Satin, the 3-horse in the 5th race for the Lady de View, who he rides for all the time. I think he's about 5-1 morning line. So whether he comes in first or whether Luka Lubitz comes first, really, my mom told me they were going to name me Gregory Gergely. I would have been beaten up every other day. But put something great in your mouth with a cigar from Perdomo Cigars.
Luka Panici Lubitz. It has a nice ring to it, though.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll be in there.
A little Italian theme working there, a little Jewish. So it's awesome. All right, we're ready for our next set of questions here. Perdomo Cigar is always great. We love the representation
Fantastic.
here on the show for so many years. I think since the inception of the program.
Yeah.
All right, next set of questions. Here's Dave.
College football. This Notre Dame coach on his team's common goal said, On this team, we're all united in a common goal to keep my job. Was that Lou Holtz, Lou Costello, Elvis Costello, or Elvis Peacock?
All right, rolling a scrambler. Decide our next player, and this could be our final player before we go to the finals. And it lands on Mike. Mike, you're on the trivia challenge. Good morning, Mike.
Hey, good morning, eh?
Good morning.
Correct
sir.
again. Very sharp players today.
Baseball, Mike, true or false? Recently, and I watched the ceremony, they honored Jim Leyland, who won the first championship for the Marlins as their manager. And believe it or not, he was known in the dugout for making phone calls, not to the bullpen, but to someone at Calder Racecourse to make bets for him. True or false?
True.
That is true.
That is true.
I witnessed it firsthand. Bill Saltzman's on the phone, and he picks up the phone, and he turns to me and he says, "Go bet 200 on the 6." Right? Because the Calder press box was it was at the very top level. And so, you weren't going to be running downstairs. And they had Rock Forche. You remember that guy?
Sure.
The pari-mutuel tellers.
Yeah.
He was also a jockey agent.
Yeah.
And so Rock was the pari-mutuel teller in the press box there. It was a relatively light action, although people were sending it in. And I go and bet the 200, and I give the ticket to Saltzman. I said, "Good luck, Phil." He says, "Oh, that's not for me. That was Jim Leyland on the phone." And what's funny, if you were watching a game, you see him going to the phone, and you're thinking he's calling. Well, why is he bringing up somebody in the bullpen? They're up 4-0. This guy's cruising. He's got a no-hitter going, and sure enough, he was calling in bets at Calder Racecourse. That was great. All right, 2 for 2, right?
Yes, sir.
Going for 5.
All right, golf. Royal Port Rush will be the host site for this year's British Open. The last time was held there in 2019. Who was the winner?
Good
Colin
question.
Morikawa, Cameron Smith, Jordan Spieth, or Shane Lowry?
Yeah.
Smith, he says.
Smith.
No, that was the real popular one where Shane Lowry won it for Ireland.
I was going to say Shane Lowry for some reason. You see this also. He lost a bunch of weight too, I think, Shane Lowry.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, so he looks good. Did he have a hip replacement? I didn't hear anything about that. Okay, we're gunning for a sweep here, Mike. You already worked your way into the finals, so this is for the classification of being a bona fide trivia expert. Here we go.
Baseball. In 1964, it was the first time in 40 years in San Francisco Giant history that a player got 6 hits in a game in a 10-3 win over the Cubs at Wrigley Field. Whoops.
What?
Did he get it all? 6 hits in a game over at Wrigley. That player for the Giants was who?
Oh, okay.
Felipe Alou, Matty Alou, Jesus Alou, or Willie Mays?
Oh, Jesus.
Say one of the Alous.
Matty Alou.
Matty Alou.
Believe it or not, it was the one you would least expect of the Alou brothers.
Jesus.
With the
Jesus Alou. Very good. Didn't they all play in the same outfield?
They did.
Yeah.
Yep. At one time. Yep.
Right? Yeah, that was great. All right, 5 has you in the finals here, and you're going to go against Ron, who had 7 for the championship here, and a gift certificate to either Landlubbers and or Texas Roadhouse. Gurggles, once again, Perdomo Cigars. We can't emphasize their greatness enough.
Yeah, but I got to tell you, we sell them here at the golf club. I'm looking out the window at our golf course, set to probably reopen to the general public in November, but a Corey for St. Jude's in October. This course is spectacular.
Wow.
So any of you golfers out there, go online to Miami Lakes Golf Club, take a look at what's been done to this course. It is unbelievable, folks. So, and we will have Perdomo Cigars, obviously, in the pro shop for sale. And if you're riding by Perdomo Cigars, we're only a couple blocks away. Come by and say hello. Take a look at the golf club. But 305-627-6700, the number for Perdomo Cigars. Go see Nick Jr., see Bruce right there. And what's coming up? Well, let's see. We've got Lubie's Baby coming up. And you don't need an occasion to have a Perdomo cigar. Just enjoy the finest tobacco you'd ever want to make. Cuban seed tobacco grown in Nicaragua. 305-627-6700. Tell Nick that we sent him from the Defo show, from the Hialeah Sports Trivia Challenge, from the Sony Sports Showdown, and from anything else we may have been on.
I want to say I probably played Shula's golf course like 100 rounds over the years. Tell me they didn't move back the women's tees where I used to tee off from. I mean, are the red tees still in the same position? What exactly did they do to this thing?
Well, what they've done, Jeff, is they've taken a lot of trees down and added some bunkers. the back nine was famous for when it rained a couple minutes, it had to go to cart pass only because of all the lakes.
Yeah.
They've raised the back nine, put in additional drainage back there. It looks like a brand new course. It really does.
He's under a very heavy block of trees on the left side of 18, which was the last place on earth you wanted to be. Remember, you're coming up there. It wasn't an easy par 4, 18.
Left. Yeah, it's a dog leg to the left.
Yeah.
And you got to go right around the water on 18. But
if you were on those trees, if you were on those trees on the left side, you were finished. Absolutely.
Right, and number 9 would have trees right in the middle of the fairway. Well, they're gone too, and it's a beautiful par 5.
Oh, that helps. That's good.
So go online to Miami Lakes Golf Club, see what they've done. They've got some drone shots. It is spectacular.
My favorite hole was number 2. Is that still a little bit elevated?
Yeah, that's the largest elevation in Dade County, except for the garbage dump, I think, in Miramar.
Well, the speed bumps at Century Village would be the highest. It turns out they're almost like the Himalayas. All right, ready for the finals here. Here's the way it works. Ron and Mike, Dave's going to fire off a question. Call out your name if you want to answer right away. Nobody does that. We offer multiple choice. The first person to call out the name gets the first shot, and then we go back and forth till we have a winner for the championship. This week's edition of the Trivia Challenge, here is Dave Gurggles Gergely.
Good luck, guys. A Wimbledon one. This is up your alley, Jeff.
Okay.
When Jaakko Eltena and Paul Harahus won the men's doubles in 1998, it broke a 5-year winning streak of what men's doubles team or who?
Oh, okay. I might know this one.
Jonas Bjorken.
Ron.
Go ahead.
Ready. What, Ron?
Ron.
Woodford Brothers.
The Woodies.
That's right. And you didn't let me give my choices because it was Johansson and Bjorkman, Jim Courier and Pete Sampras, or Mark Goodman and Bill Todson.
Were the Woodies brothers?
It was the Woodbridge brothers that won 5 in a row.
Were they actually brothers, or were
they were
two individuals? Okay.
Mark and Todd.
Okay. All right. Very good. Nice job, Ron. Wow. That was tremendous.
Wow.
Who would know previous Wimbledon doubles winners? I mean, and 1988.
I should have said who broke the Woodridge brothers. That would have been tougher.
Yeah. Well, they were great. They were a dynamic doubles team. And then you had, what was it? Stan Smith and was it Bob Lutz? What were those? The American team? That was tremendous.
Ed Kaplan and Kenny, the guy from the dog track, the show. What was his name?
Who was the guy? Who was the guy? It started with a D, the guy that was ambidextrous that used to hit with us. Dwight. Whatever happened to him?
Dwight.
I think you said he checked out, right?
I don't think he checked out. Last time I saw him, I think he had a bit of Parkinson's, but he was a super nice guy.
Oh, super! And when you'd hit a ball to his left, and he would just switch the racket to the left hand and then whack one back as if he was McEnroe, you thought, I can't beat this guy. That's incomparable. All right, very good, Gurggles. Where are you going to be? Any charity events? Nothing?
Oh no, I'm just rehab again tomorrow. 3 days a week in rehab. Today I might get a little phone action for opening day at Saratoga.
I'm thinking, yeah. Now, can you get out and about, or?
I can. The only problem is, Jeff, is since it's my right hip, I can't drive. With the arm. But like I said, Miami Lakes has the freebie thing. If I get into notion to go to Gulfstream, I'll Uber it one day. Why not?
Can you just ask the guy that's supposed to take you to the rehab?
Well, no, they stay right in the Miami Lakes area, the freebie one. So
couldn't you consider it part of your rehabilitation?
Part of my rehabilitation is probably not going.
Punching a toga. All right, Dave, you have a great one.
You guys.
Good job as always. Dave Gurggles Gergely, ladies and gentlemen, in the Trivia Challenge. Any parting thoughts? Mark Scott was the name of the guy who hosted the original Home Run Derby. Brian was asking about that.
Yes.
Everybody that grew up in that era as a baseball fan, which we all were, if you were a sports fan, you were a big baseball fan, loved the Home Run Derby. It was fantastic. And it was an interesting television production. I can't believe, I want to say it only lasted one season, Lubie. One season, the original Home Run Derby. They have aired it in the past when they had ESPN Classics and they were struggling to find material. And all you saw was the Home Run Derby or Jerry Quarry getting the crap beat out of him every night. And finally, the people had put up with enough of that, right? We couldn't watch this guy getting the snot knocked out of him by various great heavyweights of the past. And so, ESPN Classics went belly up, right?
Yes.
What did it become? Like ESPN 3, ESPN
U? News. I mean, they still have 4 or 5 years. Remember, they have ACC Network now, and that's an ESPN offshoot. And So yeah, they filled it with something else. Even though I love the ESPN Classics.
I believe it to be true. And he said Mark Scott checked out after the first year of the show. And that was part of the reason for the syndication going down. And then it wasn't really resurrected until you saw ESPN bring it back with ESPN Classics. And then the Home Run Derby became a big part of the All-Star. Is it still the highlight of the All-Star break, Lubie? What would you say? The Home Run Derby? I mean, it's hard to watch the whole thing.
I don't really watch it. I haven't watched
it. It just goes on forever.
It used to be appointment watching for me. I don't know if I ever really watched the All-Star game very much, but I always watched the Home Run Derby, even until the last few years. I mean, the Hamilton one is classic, and even that now was like a decade ago.
And he didn't win. Remember, he hit like 70 homers, and he somehow didn't win because he was so tired at the end.
So they started tinkering with it, and all they did was make it worse after that, actually.
Yeah.
And that's from that after that is when you lost, I don't know about credibility, but you lost star power, and it's just gone down from the hill from there. I haven't watched it in years.
I think the winner got the winner got 1,000, I think, which was big money back then. And the runner-up, they were two guys. It was head-to-head competition, the old Home Run Derby. And it would be like Mickey Mantle against Willie Mays, Hank Aaron going against Ted Kluszewski. I mean, it was great stuff. But, yeah, and it was the interviews were particularly slow-moving. And there was no noise in the background. They didn't pipe in anything. They could have even used the whistling birds from Amen Corner. And it would have livened up the broadcast a little bit because you could almost hear, when you have a microphone cranked up too high and it starts to make a little noise. And that goes out over the air. Yeah. I mean, it was sort of like that, where Mickey Mantle would be sitting in there between innings. And Scott would say, "So, Mick," and, the answer would always be something along the lines of, "Oh, shucks." And, and that was it. You didn't learn too much about these guys during those interviews, but it was great. All right. We have to get out of here. Thanks so much for being with us. Thanks to Dave, Lubie. Always a pleasure. For Dave Gurggles Gergely, Mike Lubie, I'm Jeff DeForest. We'll see you next time. Tomorrow we'll have the big board with the professor and other fanfare as well as we leave. You know that.
The time.
Sorry about the whole Ben Shelton thing. That was ugly. Straight set, right out the window. At least it went to a tiebreaker in the first set. But
there you go. I gave you hope.
After being up briefly, Shelton got annihilated the rest of the way. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time. As we said, it's 9:01.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.